Hello everyone, my name is Rebecca. I titled this video How to Be Poor, and no, I don't recommend going and being poor, and I also don't think that I am necessarily poor anymore. I'm probably in middle class, definitely not first class. um, Quick background about me. I'm a 27-year-old mother. I have a 4-year-old son, and I live in Eureka, California, which for people that don't know California would be Humboldt, California, or Humboldt County, California, and that's northern, up towards Oregon. Very beautiful country. You have the redwoods and ocean all in one. Go a little bit inland, it's nice and warm, you can go swimming. We really have it made here in Humboldt. Most of the time, the weather stays between 55 and 60 degrees in the winter and 65 to, I think the hottest it gets in the summer is about 80 degrees. Really, just we have it made. Um, yeah, that's pretty much about the background for me. Now, as I said, I don't consider myself poor very much anymore. I have been poor. There's been times when I've slept underneath bridges or staircases because I didn't have anywhere to live, directly because of my income. I have worked in hotels and lived in hotels. Me working there was so I could live there. So there's that. Um, there was a point in time when I lived off of $200. Now, the only reason I was able to survive off of $200 a month is because I was living in a low income apartment. And that literally saved my life. Um, as far as all that goes, I am an extremely hard worker. I've been working my entire life, pretty much since I was 8 years old. I've done a slew, and I mean a slew. I am a Jane of all trades type woman, of jobs. So, whew, I tell you what, my very first job as an 8-year-old child was babysitting. I used to babysit for 6 different people every night, and some of those babysittings were overnight. Now, my next job that I had was yard work and landscaping. At first, it just started out by pulling weeds and, mowing a lawn. Nothing too big, nothing too dangerous. But then my landlord, or my mother's landlord, saw one of the yards that I did and was inspired to hire me to help landscape the houses slash apartments that we lived in at the time. And that was the first time I laid cement. and churned it. I learned how to churn cement when I was 8 years old. Yeah. So, as I said, I'm a very hard worker. I've been working most of my life. Now, I didn't have the best childhood or a regular childhood. I definitely wouldn't change my childhood. You know, it is what it is. It made me who I am. I'm definitely a lot stronger for having my childhood than had I grown up regular. Okay, so into the video. How to be poor. Number 1, manage your money. And that is very hard to do for some people. They don't know how to sit down and form a budget, and oh, so my best advice I could give you at the very beginning of the month, or when you get all your bills in, know exactly how much you're paying in bills. Rent is always a flat rate, so that one's an easy peasy. You can put rent aside. Now, if you pay PG&E and water, those vary month to month. Either when you get paid, go in and just give them a set amount every month, or wait until you get your bill so you know exactly how much you pay. When you get paid, subtract everything exactly, so that way you know how much you'll have left. And that's what you're going to ration after oh, I'm so sorry. It's been a long day, so pretty tired. Okay. So, for example, where I live in a 2-bedroom apartment. I pay $800 for rent plus utilities. It's not included in rent, so I pay those out of pocket. I make right now about 1,200 a month, maybe a little bit less. I'm hoping soon it'll be more. We'll see. So my rent is $800 even. Typically, my water bill is between $50 and $80. My PG&E bill is between $50 and $80. It really just depends on the month, how much we've used the heater, how much we've used the stove. It's an electric stove. I really hate electric stoves. It's another story. But so always when I get paid, my first check, or I take out my rent money, which for right now is $400 because my mother lives with me and she pays the other $400. I pay the utilities, so I always do even $160 because I will budget for the highest number instead of the lowest number. I find that always to be better. Budget higher than you think you would have to pay. And I never really wait for a bill to come in As soon as I have the money, I go and I pay it. But once you've done up all the math, and whatever amount you're left with is what you're going to spread out through the rest of the month. So, say you're left with $500. Well, that's awesome. But I'm sure that has to cover food, that has to cover phone, that has to cover laundry if you don't have a laundry place in your home. That has to cover gas if you drive. How are you going to budget that? Well, for myself, my mother, and my 4-year-old child, I can make $120 last for a month of food. So I always do $120 monthly for food. Sometimes I get to splurge, sometimes I don't. Just depends on how much I brought home for my paycheck. So know exactly how much you need to spend for a month's worth of food. 2, know exactly how much how much your cell phone bill is. Some cell phone companies have flat rates. Some cell phone companies vary from month to month. So, knowing exactly how much you need to pay helps a lot. Like I said, always budget for the higher amount. So that way, if you have leftover money, 1, it's better, and 2, it's just better because you end up having more money at the end of the month than you thought you would. For your gas, always fill up your tank. And again, keep an extra. I would always keep $20 in the car at all times, just in case you run out of money and you have to go to work. You know, I personally don't have a vehicle. I don't have a license. I never have. I have very bad eyesight. I also have very severe car anxiety. I get behind the wheel and I can last about 10 minutes before I have a full-blown panic attack. It is not a pretty sight. So I do not drive. Will I get a license? Maybe, eventually. Probably not. I walk everywhere, or I take the bus, cab, Uber, or ride a bike if I have one available. Mainly, right now my biggest mode of transportation is the bus and walking. So if you're somebody like me and you don't drive, learning how to get discounts on bus passes. If you're a student, there are so many student discounts that you can get. Yeah, I mean, like, really. So, shopping, food shopping, the biggest thing that I see people do that's really just a waste of money is buying packaged slash pre-processed food. So stuff like chicken nuggets, already made hamburgers, frozen dinners, frozen pizza, lasagnas that are already made. You just throw them in the oven. A lot of canned foods. And one, those foods aren't very healthy for you. I don't know why you would want to eat those on a daily basis. Maybe you don't eat them on a daily basis, but a lot of people do. And it just, it kills me a little bit inside knowing people want to put that stuff into their bodies. Now, I'm not a crazy health nut. I'm not like going to judge you, but yeah. So always whenever I shop, I do have a good amount of canned foods that I buy. Those are usually the very first things that I buy in the store, actually. I buy canned vegetables and canned beans. I always buy the vegetables that are in water, not juices, and beans. I will try to buy vegetarian beans. I am not a vegetarian or a vegan. I just prefer vegetarian beans. They're usually made with a salted oil, and they taste better on almost everything. A lot of vegetarian food actually, in my opinion, tastes better. Vegetarian burgers are one of them. I don't know what it is. They're less greasy. They definitely don't taste like a hamburger, but I don't know. So, anyway, not a vegetarian. Vegetables, fresh vegetables. Do not buy pre-packaged vegetables. Every store does this. They have rows and rows of beautifully packaged, cut up, diced, whatever. They're beautifully packaged, and it has half a pound of maybe bell peppers, and they're $7 for that beautifully packaged set of bell peppers. It's a half a pound. You can get 2 pounds of bell peppers that are not packaged in a little flimsy bag for $7. Half a pound, 2 pounds. It's common sense. Now, obviously, carrots are almost always pre-packaged, but they're not fancied up, they're not nothing. So, yes, you'll have to buy carrots pre-packaged. Green beans and Brussels sprouts are the ones that I see most of. They're packaged very beautifully, and you want to buy them because, oh, I think that's enough. That looks like a good amount. They're made, they are packaged specifically to where it looks more than there is. And generally speaking, Whenever a food has been pre-packaged, the what would have originally cost you maybe $3 will now cost you $4 or $5. It's very annoying, and it's something I see people do all the time. Oh, isn't this such a cute little package? No, it's not. That little package just cost you $2. Buy fresh vegetables outside of a package. Fruits. Know what fruits last in your environment. Bananas are amazing. They can pair with just about any meal. They do not last long. Most bananas go bad within 4, maybe 5 days. That's if you're not a person that eats bananas a lot, but you like fruit. They're usually really inexpensive. But again, they go bad very quickly. So know the shelf life of your food. Obviously, if you're buying all fresh food, then you're going to be cooking fresh meals. Know what meals you should cook first. Meats. When buying meats, everybody always gets the top things. Now, stores put meat on the top, and they're way more expensive. Don't be afraid to dig a little bit. I can get a thing of chicken that has 8 thighs and 4 drumsticks for $5. Most people pay $10. That's a big price difference. Dig for the lower price. Always. Do not buy anything that is not on sale. If it's not marked down, it's a waste of money, especially when you have none to waste. As I said, pre-packaged anything, if it's packaged prettied up, they're gonna charge you at least $2 for that package. And there's not much you can do about it. Milk. Always, always, always buy the house store brand milk. Now, that could actually be said with anything from the store. 9 times out of 10, their ingredients, the store brand's ingredients, are better quality, and you get more for your money because they're the same amount that you would get in a name brand, but you're paying less. The Winco brand foods, macaroni and cheese is an excellent one. I had a box of Kraft macaroni and cheese and Winco macaroni and cheese, and was going through the ingredient list on it, and one, couldn't even pronounce the ones on Kraft. Not most of them anyway. But Winco's was just a lot better value. Yeah. So, buying store brands instead of name brands is always a cost-effective alternative. And I think the last piece of advice I could give is just uh, sorry. Oh, learn to do things on your own. Um, Cutting your hair, dyeing your hair, cooking. If you know, learn, just learn to be self-efficient. Um, I cut, style, I do, I can do pretty much everything. I did my own hair, actually, in fact, just a couple days ago. And it was a very ugly black color. I have hairspray in it, so right now there's splotches of dark, and that's the hairspray where it coagulated. But as you can see, like, it's very, you know, learn to do your hair on your own. My hair right now is two different lengths because in September I shaved, actually, the lower part of my hair and it made it a V. I'm growing it back out, and once it gets to my shoulders, I'm going to do a cute little bob cut. Um, yeah, I mean, self-sufficiency is one of the best things I could ever advise anybody. Learn to do stuff on your own. Most definitely. Anyway, it's pretty late at night. I am super tired. And, well, yeah, it's pretty late at night and I'm super tired. So, I hope I helped at least one person. I'm sorry I talk slow and I probably bored some people. But you know what? I am who I am. It is what it is. You all have a good night. Comment on my video and maybe I will upload more. You know, because everybody needs to know how to be poor. Good night.